Hello aspirants, welcome to GS Core. I am Ashutosh and let's begin with the session of daily current affairs analysis and the MCQs, our initiative for prelims. So topics of the day, the first thing first. So today we have taken 5 topics. Among the first one is Article 39B and C of the Constitution of India. Why? Because in Supreme Court a case is going on in the Supreme Court regarding the issues of the material distribution which has been envisaged under the Article 39B and C of the Constitution, which deals with the equity based distribution of material resources and to promote the equality or the equity among the citizens of India and to prevent the concentration of wealth. So that's why a question and explanation will be provided for this topic. The second topic for us is the Food Security Information Network. Okay, this was in news because a report has been published very recently. That report of the Food Security Information Network, the report says that 282 million people are food insecure. They are facing the higher levels of acute food insecurity. What is food insecurity? It means that you have no security for the food. आपको पता नहीं कि आपका अगला food आएगा या कब आएगा. You are not secure or sure with regard to the availability of food. So this report says that 282 million people worldwide are facing the food insecurity or the acute food insecurity. So we will discuss on that. The third topic for us is National Clean Air Program. Okay, the National Clean Air Program, a report has been published by this NCAP which says that some of the states which have been envisaged, which has been given to a target to reduce their pollution level in the airs, have not met their target. The identified cities have not met their target. So based on that, we'll see the concept of the NCAP and CAP and the question on that basis. Next is Infrastructure Investment Trust, InvITs, very important one. Okay, because the profits for the InvITs have increased recently, so that's why it was in news. And InvITs are a, if you go by the name, Infrastructure Investment Trust, which invest in the infrastructure projects. Very important financial instrument. Next one, the last one is minorities in India. You must be well aware that after a public rally in which the issues of minorities had been highlighted, so based on that, some opposition parties have raised the issue with the election commission that the minorities are being targeted and some kind of communal sentiments are being raised up in the elections, in the rallies by the political parties. So that's why it was in news. We'll see on the status of the minorities and who are the minorities. So let's begin the session with the first topic of the day, that is Article 39B and C. So basically Article 39B and C, if I give you a lucid explanation, they strive to make India a equity based, okay, where the social order is equity based, and states shall strive to, for what? To manage the resources of the state or of a country in a manner that promote the common good. Second statement is the second, the clause number C says that the concentration of the wealth shall not result that it shall not result in the concentration of wealth, and the policies of the state shall be to secure that the operation of economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth by means of production to the common detriment. So the means of production shall be available for all and shall not result into the concentration of wealth. And the first one, the Article 39B clause 39 clause B says that there shall be a common good and the distribution of material resources shall be equity based. So based on that, we'll discuss this theme. So basically Article 39B and C relates to the DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies, which directs the state to follow a particular policy in that direction. And as per the cases of Supreme Court of India, at times to implement the Article 39B and C, that is to implement the policies with regard to the material distribution of resources and to prevent the concentration of wealth, the state can override the rights under Article 19, 14 first, 14, 15 and 19, at times freedom also. ठीक है, ये चीज आपको सिक्योर होना चाहिए. And in particular, why this was in news? Because the Supreme Court on 23rd April has commenced the hearing of decade-old petitions And why these petitions were filed? Because on the scope of the world, material resources, that what constitute the material resources of community. Suppose this article has to be enforced by the state. Okay. Now, what would be the meaning of material resources? तो इस पे ये केस आया है कहां पे? सुप्रीम कोर्ट में. At times this has been petitioned that even the private property of a company or individual will be included under the material resources. So the question being pertinent in the case is that whether the private property can be made under the issue or the broader parameters of material resources or not. Okay. So based on that, let's see the wordings of the 39B and C. Okay. So it makes it obligatory for the state to create a policy towards securing that the ownership and control किसके पास होना चाहिए? कॉमन गुड को सर्व करना चाहिए. द नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल 39 क्लॉज सी सेज दैट द पॉलिसी शुड be directed in a manner to secure that the operation of the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth. Concentration of wealth means that only few individuals have the accumulation of wealth in their hand. They are the only having the most of the wealth. Suppose there is an Oxfam report which said that the 1% of the population hold 90% of the wealth. It is the concentration of wealth. So the DPSP here indirects the state to prevent those things to happen. Okay. So basically, why this in Indian Constitution? Because we inherited the in the post-independence period, we inherited our India as a poor country. The country having a lot of social, economic and disparities, political disparities. So to quell those disparities, DPSP has given a preference for the state to frame a policy which can have the capability to reduce those disparity, equitable distribution and prevention of concentration of wealth. So basically, it's a duty of the state. Next, of course, the material resources of the community is not confined to natural resources only, even not confined to which is owned by the public. Public here means government. It is what it means, include all resources, natural. Natural means pahar, pathar, mountains, river, etc. Man-made, artificial lake, whatever it can be, public and private owned. So private owned can be included here. Okay. But the case is an ongoing, it's a sub judice one. Okay. However, that if passed, if taken, the government can have the right to seize the private property to distribute among equals. Okay. Using this, we have the coal mines and nationalization of bank in the 1970s. इस provisions के हिसाब से हुआ था. Coal mines को nationalize किया गया था. So all those companies working in the coal sector were nationalized. Similarly, the banking sector में जो भी company work कर रही थी, they also have been nationalized. ठीक है, by enforcing the 39B and C. And herein there was a case that you violate my right to equality. So says the right to equality does not exceed the right which has been the DPSP, the policy which has been under the 39B and C clauses. I hope the concept is clear to you. Very important from the point of view of examinations. To 2-3 साल last 10 years के अंदर ये PYQ रह चुका है. Then let's see the questions based on that. So consider the following statement regarding the Article 39B and C of the Indian Constitution. So it empowers the state to seize the private property for redistribution. Now here there is a catch. I told you that it providing the power, but it's a sub judice matter. So we cannot say by confidence by that it empowers the state to seize the private property for redistribution. Okay, it can be, it cannot be. Okay. Next is any law to implement the directives of 39B and C, even if it violates the Article 14 or 19, is not unconstitutional. I told you, yes. One will be, I will take incorrect. Why? Because the private property, seizing the private property is matter under sub judice. So that's why B2 only will be the right answer. And as I told you, if the state enforces the 39B and C, then even the working of the Article 14, right to freedom, right, equality and freedom, and 19 is the policy will not be called unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Okay, I hope the matter is clear to you. Next topic we have the Food Security Information Network. Why it was in news? I told you that a recent report which was released by the Food Security Information Network has highlighted that nearly 282 million people face a high level of acute food insecurity. Okay, and high level of acute food insecurity in 59 countries in 2023 amidst the growing climate crisis. Beside the climate crisis, we have wars, okay, extreme weather events related with the climate changes. Okay, migration is one of the important criteria for that matter. So these factors have given a quite rise in the food insecurity, and in particular, if you see, if I compare with the levels we have in 2016 के अंदर, there was, according to this report, 108 million food insecure. Now see, this has rose to 2023 में कितना हो गया है, 282 million. ठीक है, so this is the number of food insecure people being increased, and in particular the population which is being affected in the area has also risen. जो area wise increase है वो भी, we can see the increase from 11 to 22% in these last 6-7 years. This is a very grave situation, and food insecurity, I told you, when you cannot have the security over the food, and the food insecurity also results from the war, migration, extreme weather events. So what is the FSIN? The Food Security Information Network, going by the word information and a network. So it may be the network of 2-3 organizations or the institution which provide the information regarding the food security. So that is the Food Security Information Network. It has been established by the collaboration between the Food and Agriculture Organizations, the UN organizations, the World Food Program, and IFPRI. Okay. These three are the collaborative partners for this FSIN information being exchanged, and what it does, as I told you, they exchange the knowledge and best practices among the stakeholders which have been involved in the food security and nutrition part, and they work to give a evidence-based scientific decision making and policy formulation to address the global, regional and national levels का जो imbalances है, food insecurity है. They can have the discussion based on the evidence. The decision making will be evidence based, and they share the evidences with their knowledge partners, the best practices in the food security realm. Okay, I hope the concept is clear to you. Now let's see the question based on that. So consider the following statement. The Food Security Information Network is a global initiative, yes, launched to strengthen the food and nutrition security information system. Yes, true, nothing incorrect in that. Second statement says FSIN integrates and harmonizes the data from various sources to provide timely and accurate information on food security. Yes, true. The primary objective of the FSIN is to provide emergency food assistance to vulnerable population during crisis. Now, this is not the work of the FSIN. We have not read that, so it will be incorrect, and it is not the work of the FSIN. So only two, option B will be the correct option here. Okay. Next topic we have NCAP, that is the National Clean Air Program. National Clean Air Program. And why it was in news? Because according to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEFCC, that most cities proactively submitted their CAP, that is the Clean Air Action Plans, the action plan which they have given to the center, the NCAP, that they will implement such and such climate action plans to reduce their pollution level. So in that direction, this report has highlighted, the ministry has highlighted that their implementation has been inconsistent. Their implementation has been inconsistent. Why? Because they at times doesn't give a lot of efforts, and one of the situation which has been observed, that on average the funding allocations which have been given to the states, they only use 60% of the fundings, and 27% of the cities is spending less than 30% of the designated budget. So issues क्या है इसमें? Lesser uses of the fund, and the spending is less in 27% of the cities which have been given the target. Then the spending is 30% less than their designated budget. So they have not taken the things very seriously. Now they are playing with the climate, they are playing with the weather events, and it can be very dangerous also. Okay, because India is a country, tropical country, it's very vulnerable to climate change, the effects of the climate change. You can see the effects of the climate change in the agriculture, droughts, even the floods, increasing number of floods, water crisis, drinking water crisis, ठीक है, pollution, the release of the greenhouse gas, etc. So basically these are the climate weather events. And the NCAP, the organization dealing with the National Clean Air Program, the air shall be clean. Now they have not invested their much of the allocated wealth, that 60% been only used, and 27% of the cities spending less than 30% of their designated budgets. The issues have been identified. Now with regard to the NCAP, the NCAP, the MOEFCC has launched the NCAP National Clean Air Program in January 2019 with what objective? The objective was to improve the air quality in 131 cities that has been given the status, the tag of the non-attainment cities, and million plus cities in 24 states and UTs by engaging all stakeholders. Okay, so the objective is clear. Okay, so 131 cities called as non-attainment and million plus cities को भी दिया गया था जिनका population 10 lakh से ज्यादा होगा, launched in the year 2019. So what is the program? The program envisages to reduce the 40% of the achievement of the national ambient air quality standards for particulate matter PM10 concentration by 2025-2026. So initially when it was launched, the target was to reduce by 25% के आसपास, ठीक है, by 2017 के हिसाब से कि 2025 तक 2024 तक they will be reducing approx 25% of the reduction in the poor quality of air indicators. Okay, so it was by the level of 2017. Now it has been revised. Okay, last year तो उसके बाद क्या हुआ था 25-26 तक they have to reduce the 40% or the achievement of the National Ambient Air Quality Standard for PM10, the particulate matters PM10 and PM2.5 इसके अंदर आते हैं, ठीक है. So what are these National Ambient Air Quality Standards? These are the standards for air quality. The National Ambient Air Quality Standard, ambient means जो बहुत बढ़िया air quality हो. What are they? They are the standard for air quality, and these are set by the Central Pollution Control Board. Important from prelims point of view. PT के लिए बहुत important है. The National Ambient Air Quality Standards, the ambient air quality being the standards being set by the Central Pollution Control Board and applicable all over the country. And now by which act, by which power it set the standards? That the CBCB, the Central Pollution Control Boards, this power came from the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. This is the act, the law which governs the CPCB, setting the standard for the ambient air quality. And the National Clean Air Program that envisages to achieve the reduction up to 40% or to achieve the air quality as envisaged by 25-26. I hope this point is clear to you. Now, what are particulate matters? Most of you might be knowing this, but who are new, it will be helpful for them. These particulate matter are the particle pollution जो suspended रहते हैं. So it is a general term for mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets. So solid liquid दोनों होंगे इसमें, who are suspended in the air. Air में वो suspend रहते, घूमते रहते, they are not visible by the naked eye at times, and they constitute a wide range of minute particles in the air that can be seen only using an electron microscope, and it includes the pollutants like sulfate, nitrates, black carbon, okay, particles bound waters, metals, cadmium, copper, nickel, zinc, and hydrocarbons. And in addition, the biological components as allergens, that is the pollen, dust mites, and the microbial compound that the fungi are also under the PM, that is the particulate matters. Okay, so PM10, two criteria have been given. PM10, that is the inhalable particles which we can inhale by getting exposed to that, with the diameters of those 10 micrometers से ऊपर होगा, so that will be called the PM10. That average, if we compare with the average human air, it is a 70 micrometers in diameter. So less than the human air का जो होगा diameter होगा, वो आपका use होगा PM10 के अंदर. Important from prelims point of view. ठीक है. Now PM2.5 more micro than that, fine inhalable particles. हमें we even cannot know to go that हमने इसको inhalate किया है. 2.5 माइक्रोमीटर्स एंड स्मॉलर देन दैट. एंड जो पॉल्यूशन दिल्ली के अंदर आता है शूट से, फायर से, जो देयर इज अ स्मॉग इन दिल्ली, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ PM10 concentration, 2.5 concentration. That's why it affects our lungs. ठीक है. Now this NCAP, what it aims to want to do, the NCAP wants to improve the air quality in 131 cities, that with the tag of non-attainment cities and the million plus cities. Now it emphasizes, as we have discussed, 40% of the reduction or the achievement of national ambient air quality standard for particulate matter concentration by 2025. यहाँ तक उसको करेक्ट करना है. Now why these are called the non-attainment city? आपके दिमाग में क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. Now these cities are called non-attainment because they did not meet the ambient air quality standards for the period of 2011-15, which has been given under the National Air Quality Monitoring Program, the program which has given the responsibilities for the cities to achieve the standard of air quality by this period. They have not achieved so, and they have been given the tag of the non-attainment cities. And now these non-attainment cities, what they have to do, they have to implement this program. And the report ने क्या कहा था? They are the inconsistent one. ठीक है. So these cities have to implement their pollution targets. They have to meet the national ambient air quality standards. ठीक है. Then we have one more important thing from this, the PRAN that has been launched recently, portal, that is the portal for the regulation of air pollution in non-attainment cities. उसके लिए है ये PRAN. That the portal, what it is a portal for regulation of air pollution. उनको देखेगा कैसे कर रहे हैं, नहीं कर रहे हैं लोग, कितना अच्छा से कर रहे हैं कि नहीं हो पा रहा है in the non-attainment cities, that the 131 cities who have been given the tag of the non-attainment cities. And it's a portal for monitoring of the implementation of NCAP. ठीक है. I think the point is clear to you. And of course what it will do, it will support the tracking of the physical as well as financial status. Physical और financial status को ये track करेगा, which they have been in the implementation of the plan का जो implement होगा, and disseminate the information on air quality management effort under the NCAP to public. So ये तीन काम ये करेगा आपका प्राण. पहला, it's a portal for regulation of air pollution in non-attainment cities, and a portal for monitoring of NCAP, the National Clean Air Program. And what it provides, it will track and disseminate the information regarding the physical as well as financial status of the city air action plan implemented, and disseminate the information with regard to that. I hope the points are clear to you. You can pause the video and look over there for the PPT part. Now let's see the questions based on that topic. So consider the following statement regarding the National Clean Air Program. So first statement says that it aims to reduce the air pollution across all cities of India to meet the prescribed standard for air quality. Now you see the extreme word all here, not all but 131 non-attainment cities. So one will be here, incorrect one will be incorrect one here. ठीक है, because it wants to improve in the 131 non-attainment cities and the million plus cities के अंदर होगा वो. ठीक है, in 24 states and UTs के अंदर. It aims for reduction of 40% in particulate matter by 2030. No, it was 2025-26 के आसपास था ये देखिए आप. We have just talk about that. ठीक है, 2025-26 के आसपास. तो 2 will also be incorrect. Why? Because there's a factual wrong in that. Third one, the prana, that is the portal for regulation of air pollution in non-attainment cities, is a portal for monitoring of implementation of the National Clean Air Program. Yes, true, as we have just discussed. So only 1A will be the right option here. Next topic, let's see the Infrastructure Investment Trust, InvITs. So basically InvITs have been in the news because they have garnered 1.3 lakh crore in the past 4 years. till March end 2023 के मार्च एंड तक इन्होंने 1.3 लाख करोड़ का प्रॉफिट लिया था, एंड दे आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू फैसिलिटेट मोर पूल्ड फंड, रिजर्व बैंक सेड इन अ रिपोर्ट. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया रिपोर्ट, द इनविट्स, ठीक है, we have two form of InvIT. One invest in the real estate and other invest in the infrastructure project. So they have commonly pooled and they have garnered the 1.3 lakh crore investment, and they have given that in the infrastructure and real estate sector. So that's why very important to understand. So InvITs, what are they? They play a crucial role in financing infrastructure. So they are the one of kind of the financial instrument. They are the one kind of financial instruments. What they want to mobilize the fund from individual, ये रखना है याद आपको, and institutional investors. Those investors, either by they are individual or institutionals or institutional investors, they have to invest in the infrastructure projects. Okay, so they aim to mobilize the funds from the individuals and institutional investors to invest in infrastructure projects, and these projects can range from, as I told you, infrastructure means road, highway, power transmission to renewable energy assets. And keep in mind, friends, this infrastructure is very crucial for a nation development. And if we are having such kind of investment and the financial instrument for the infrastructure financing, and that is getting the 1.3 lakh crore profit, it is a big thing for India, because India is deficient in the infrastructure. Nowadays, we have to focus on infrastructure, the connectivity, because connectivity have a all included benefits. It's an inclusive, it provides an inclusive benefits in terms of the connectivity from port, road, railway, etc., traveling, communication, and it keeps the GDP rising year by year. So very important one. So InvITs, now more information regarding that InvITs are structured and similar to what? The Real Estate Investment Trust, REIT. They are similar to the Real Estate Investment Trust and are governed by specific regulations formulated by the SEBI. So, Security and Exchange Board of India, they regulate the REITs and the InvITs. Common logical hai, if UPSC asks you regarding that, you can just quote that SEBI's Security Exchange Board of India, that it regulates the financial instrument. आपने पढ़ा होगा इसके बारे में. So, of course, it will be regulating the InvITs and the REITs. With regard to the asset classes, mainly invest in those projects which are completed and revenue generating. Infrastructure assets, ensuring steady income flow for investors. So, one question can come to your mind, that why they not invest in the green or the just budding infrastructure projects? Because the module, their working operations are in such that they will be investing in the completed and revenue generating infrastructure. Now, question is why? Because InvITs, now let's look this point. InvITs distribute a significant portion of their income generated from underlying assets to their unit holders in the form of dividends, making them attractive investment option for income seeking investors. Because I told you, they take from the individuals and institutional investors. So what they do, they distribute the significant portion of their income to their investors in the form of dividends, thus making them as attractive investment for income seeking investors. So that's why they only invest in the completed and revenue generating infrastructure assets, because उनको क्या है, बांटना है फंड को, उनको अपना significant portion of their income they distribute as a dividend, okay, to their unit holders. ठीक है, underlying asset जो उनका होगा उससे जो कमाएंगे वो distribute करते हैं. That's why they invest in the completed and revenue generating infrastructure assets. Of course, I told you SEBI will regulate the functioning of InvIT, because SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India, they have the mandate, they have the primary objective to ensure the transparency and protection of investors and the integrity of the market. Okay, I hope the things are clear to you. So let's see the questions based on the InvITs. Consider the following statement regarding the Infrastructure Investment Trust. First one, it is a financial instrument designed to pool a small amount of money to form a large number of investors to invest in the infrastructure projects. Correct? Nothing wrong in that. As I told you, pool investment, REITs or InvITs के आसपास, they are the financial instrument which pool a large number of money to invest in the infrastructure projects. They only invest in the completed and revenue generating infrastructure assets. Yes, true, though the word only has been used, but it is the mandate of that, is the work of that. So that's why it will be correct here. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Option C will be the right answer. Next topic we have minorities in India, because some political parties have complained to the EC, the Election Commission of India, with regard to the demonization of minorities or tagging of the minorities at someone from the as a migrant, or they can eat in your resources. That is very harmful for the democracy, because it will create some kind of misconception, and it will create diversioning politics. It will create some hatred towards other communities. So that's why it has been highlighted by some political parties that the minorities have been targeted for the electoral gain. So in that regard, let's see the constitutional provisions, if they exist for the minorities or not, or what are the provisions which are guiding the naming of the minorities, the tagging of the minorities, and what right does minorities have in India. Because under the fundamental rights, the part 3 of the Indian constitution, we have some rights for the minorities. Okay, we provide the rights for minorities. We even have a commission for that matter, minority commission. Okay, we have another minority commission, national commission for minorities, which look over the violations of the minority rights, their issues, etc. So the constitution does not explicitly define the term minority. Very important, and keep in mind, संविधान के अंदर in the under the constitution we do not have the explicit definition of the term minority. However, it recognizes certain groups as religious and linguistic. Even the term cultural minorities have been used in constitution under article 30 के आसपास. ठीक है. So under the right which is provides, it recognizes under article 29 and 30, it recognizes certain as minorities, mainly as religious and linguistic minorities, the cultural minorities, and thus it provides them with specific rights and protections. ठीक है. So how the minorities are being tagged, or who define the minorities, how we can say someone is minority, for that matter, there is a notification of minorities by central government. The government of India, that is the central government, union government, notifies the communities as minorities under the National Commission for Minorities Act of 1992, and this notification is done based on the criteria. What are the criteria? As the number of the numerical strength, or the what number some minorities constitute or not, the socio and economic indicators, and the historical significance. So these three criteria will guide the notification of the minorities in India, and done under the ambit of the central government based on the recommendations of the National Commission for Minorities. So minority rights India are safeguarded to ensure the protection and promotion of the interest of minorities. And with regard to the constitutional provisions, we have article 29, which deals with the safeguards to safeguard the interest of the minorities by protection of their culture, language, and educational institutions. So culture and language, and we have the linguistic minorities here, and of course the historical significance and the numerical strength. किसी अगर भाषा का, किसी लैंग्वेज का अगर बहुत कम लोग बोलने वाले हैं, they can seek the tag for their minority status. Okay, cultural minorities के अंदर आ सकती हैं, and we have some religious minority under that. ठीक है. There is a provision of that constitution, article 29, which safeguard the interest of the minority in that directions. Okay, next is article 30. It provides for the minorities with the right to establish, क्या establish करने का, and administer, उसको establish करो और उसको संचालित करो, उसको administer करो, the educational institution of their choice. This right extends beyond imparting the religious knowledge to encompass all forms of education, that they have right to establish and administer their educational institutions which might be concerned with the religious knowledge from which religion they belong, or any kind of education. Okay, they have the right to administer of their choice. It means they do not have any compulsion with regard to it. Okay, so let's see the question based on that. Consider the following statement regarding the minority in India. So minority are specifically defined under 29 of the constitution. No, they are not specifically defined. Incorrect option here. They are not well defined one. Under article 30, minorities can only establish educational institutions to impart religious knowledge. Incorrect one. So both 1 and 2 are incorrect. Why incorrect? Because they can establish by their choice. There is a choice for them. There is a choice for them in that matter to establish any kind of educational institution, and they can administer and establish. Both powers have been given to them under this article. Third statement, minorities are notified by central government. Yes, true. They are notified by central government. ठीक है, यहाँ पढ़ाया था हमने, यहाँ देखा था हमने, यहाँ पे नेशनल कमीशन फॉर माइनॉरिटीज. ओके, एज माइनॉरिटीज के अंदर उनका डेफिनेशन दे प्रोवाइड करती है, उनको इंक्लूड करती है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. सो दैट इज द स्कोप. ठीक है, सो वी हैव ओनली वन एज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन हियर, only one as the correct option. So I hope the things are clear to you, and we'll see you next time. But keep in mind that you all in your study you also read article 25, 26, 27, very important from the point of view of examinations. And with regard to minorities, these can also be used in the mains examination. However, with regard to the topic we have discussed in the INVITs, you can also quote this kind of statement, this kind of things in the mains examination. So basically they are important from both prelims and mains. So we have covered the 5 topics for today. Let's see you another time. Thank you very much. Take care.